All right, let's settle this once and for all. You're hungry. You want steak. And not just any steak. Something juicy, perfectly seared, a little buttery, and straight up unforgettable. Sounds simple enough, right? But in America, steakhouse chains are everywhere, and figuring out where to go can feel like navigating a minefield. From cowboy-themed chaos to upscale perfection, the choices are endless. But which steakhouse chains truly deliver, and which ones are just riding on nostalgia and a lot of salt? Today, we're ranking 13 of America's most famous steakhouse chains, from the absolute bottom to the unbeatable best. These rankings are based on real customer reviews, industry insight, and good old-fashioned taste. If your favorite spot makes the list, get ready, because some of these might surprise you. Let's dig in. Number 13, Haas's Family Steak, NC. Haas's is the kind of steakhouse that feels like stepping into a time capsule, but not in a retro-cool kind of way. More like the dining equivalent of your grandma's plastic-covered couch. Familiar, a little musty, and not quite what you remember from childhood. Founded in Pennsylvania in the 1980s, Haas's carved out a niche in small towns with its budget-friendly prices, basic steak plates, and that old-school salad and soup bar. For families on a budget, it was a go-to. You didn't come here expecting prime cuts or Wagyu-grade marbling. You came here for a $14 sirloin, unlimited cottage cheese, and maybe some soft-serve ice cream. But in today's world of foodie culture, dry-aged beef, and Instagram-worthy plating, Haas's is seriously out of step. The steaks tend to be thin, under-seasoned, and overcooked. The atmosphere? Let's just say the carpeted floors and faux wood booths haven't seen a redesign since Clinton was president. There's a certain charm in its stubborn simplicity, and locals still have affection for it, especially for nostalgia-filled family outings. But compared to modern steakhouses that emphasize quality sourcing and bold flavor, Haas's falls flat. It's not offensive. It's just forgettable. And when you're competing in a world where even fast casual chains are serving USDA Prime, that's a big problem. In short, Haas's isn't really a steakhouse anymore. It's a time warp, coasting on comfort and habit. Sometimes that's enough, but not for a higher spot on this list. Number 12, Logan's Roadhouse. Logan's Roadhouse wants to be the life of the party. Peanut shells on the floor, classic rock on the jukebox, and servers who call you honey. And to be fair, that rowdy, down-home charm worked for a while. Logan's exploded in popularity in the early 2000s as a casual steakhouse with a southern attitude. But somewhere along the line, the vibe started to feel more like a gimmick than a draw. The food? Inconsistent at best. The steaks are often bland, overcooked, and lacking the bold flavor you'd expect from a roadhouse that prides itself on attitude. The menu leans heavily on greasy comfort food, loaded potato skins, fried everything, and sweet rolls slathered in butter. Fun? Sure. But if you're actually craving a high-quality steak, Logan's probably isn't your first call. And then there's the atmosphere, which can feel more chaotic than cozy. With loud music, sticky floors, and sometimes sluggish service, the experience doesn't always match the promise. It's less southern hospitality and more no one's in charge. To make matters worse, Logan's has faced financial troubles and frequent ownership changes, which haven't exactly helped consistency or quality control. The result is a place that feels like it's trying to party like it's 2005, but the playlist hasn't been updated and the steaks haven't improved. Logan's isn't the worst. But in a crowded steakhouse scene, being not the worst isn't enough. It's a place that still draws a crowd, but rarely for the steak. Number 11, Sizzler. Sizzler was once a king of affordable steak and surf and turf combos, a place where families could feast without breaking the bank. In the 80s and 90s, it thrived on the promise of steakhouse luxury at fast food prices. But today, that promise feels like a distant echo. Let's start with the steaks. They're thin, under-seasoned, and often cooked without care. You won't find USDA Prime here, or even Choice most of the time. Sizzler has leaned hard into its salad bar and buffet-style offerings, but the quality there is hit or miss, leaning more cafeteria than steakhouse. The decor? Think dated booths, fluorescent lighting, and a vibe that screams mall food court with table service. And while some locations have tried modernizing, the brand overall feels stuck in the past. What keeps Sizzler alive is nostalgia. People remember birthday dinners, family outings, and those little cheese toasts. But when you strip away the sentiment, what's left is a chain that hasn't evolved, offering average meals in an era where diners expect more flavor, more quality, more experience. Sizzler had its moment, but today, it's mostly riding on memories, not merit. Number 10, Texas Roadhouse. Texas Roadhouse is a sensory overload from the moment you walk in. Country music blaring, line dancing servers stomping by, buckets of peanuts at the table. It's part honky-tonk, part steakhouse, and 100% chaos. For some, it's a blast. For others, it's just too much. But let's talk steak. When Texas Roadhouse gets it right, it really delivers juicy, hand-cut steaks cooked over a blazing grill, often at a decent price. The problem is consistency. One visit might leave you raving about a perfectly charred ribeye, and the next, you're chewing through a dry, under-seasoned slab of beef. The sides are classic comfort food: cinnamon butter rolls, loaded mashed potatoes, and fried everything. It's indulgent, yes, but not always refined. And the rowdy atmosphere, while fun for birthdays and group dinners, can make it hard to enjoy a serious meal. It's more of a party than a steakhouse experience. Texas Roadhouse thrives on its big personality and value pricing, and it's a hit with families and fans of hearty portions. But if you're after a truly elevated steakhouse experience, this place can feel more like a gamble than a guarantee. Number 9, Outback Steakhouse. Outback Steakhouse built its brand on Australian flair. Boomerangs on the wall, quirky dish names, and that legendary Bloomin Onion. But while the vibe is fun and approachable, the steaks themselves tell a more uneven story. Outback positions itself as a mid-tier chain offering quality steaks at a fair price. And to be fair, it sometimes delivers. Their signature Outback special or ribeye can be surprisingly flavorful when cooked right. But that's the catch. Consistency varies wildly from location to location. One franchise may serve a juicy, well-seasoned cut, while another gives you something closer to beef jerky. The sides and sauces, like the Aussie fries or garlic mashed potatoes, are comforting but rarely memorable. And while the menu is expansive, it sometimes feels like it's doing too much. Seafood, burgers, pasta, and ribs all cram into a steakhouse identity that's already straining at the seams. What keeps Outback alive is its nostalgic familiarity and solid marketing. It's dependable for casual diners, but if you're chasing a next-level steak experience, this is where you realize charm doesn't always equal quality. It's the kind of place you go when you want a steak, not necessarily a great one. Number 8, LongHorn Steakhouse. LongHorn Steakhouse is like that student who always gets a solid B+, dependable, likable, but never quite reaching full potential. With over 500 locations nationwide, it's earned a reputation for reliable cuts, hearty portions, and a distinctly Western vibe that feels both accessible and comforting. Their signature outlaw ribeye is smoky, well-marbled, and honestly one of the better chain steak offerings out there. The seasoning is bold, the char is satisfying, and the grill marks are Instagram-worthy. Sides like the crispy Brussels sprouts and loaded baked potatoes help round out the experience. So why isn't LongHorn ranked higher? Consistency and ambition. While some locations nail the flavor and presentation, others underdeliver. Dry steaks, overcooked sides, or indifferent service. And while the menu is solid, it rarely surprises or evolves, make it feel more like a safe fallback than a destination. Still, for the price point, LongHorn punches above its weight. It's not flashy, but it gets the job done. And when they get it right, it's genuinely satisfying. With just a bit more care and creativity, LongHorn could absolutely level up from dependable chain to go-to favorite. Number 7, Claim Jumper. Claim Jumper used to be the definition of go big or go home. Known for its oversized portions, cabin-like interiors, and gold rush aesthetic, it was once the place you'd visit when you were starving and still leave with leftovers. It wasn't just a steakhouse. It was a full-blown culinary expedition into comfort food territory. Their porterhouse steak was hefty, buttery, and full of flavor, and their sides, from the creamy mac and cheese to the mile-high chocolate cake, made it feel like a cheat day celebration every time. The menu was a sprawling adventure, and for a while, diners couldn't get enough. But fast forward to today, and things aren't as golden. The chain has shrunk considerably, with many locations shuttered over the last decade. Corporate changes, inconsistent quality, and shifting dining trends have chipped away at its once massive appeal. What used to be indulgent now feels outdated, and some newer diners find the decor and menu a bit stuck in the past. Still, when you do find a well-run claim jumper, the experience can feel nostalgic and satisfying. It's a steakhouse that once roared, now more of a whisper but not quite silent yet. Number 6. Black Angus Steakhouse. Black Angus Steakhouse is a nostalgic nod to the golden era of American dining, and somehow it's still holding its own. Founded in 1964, it has the kind of wood panel warmth and dimly lit booths that make you feel like you're stepping into a scene from a vintage movie. And while many chains chase trends, Black Angus sticks to the fundamentals: good steak, solid service, and a no-fuss atmosphere. The Campfire Feast for Two is a standout deal, offering a massive spread at a surprisingly fair price. The center-cut filet mignon and New York strip are prepared with care, often arriving with a satisfying crust and tender, juicy interior. Add classic sides like garlic mashed potatoes or fresh broccoli, and you're in for a traditional steakhouse experience done right. While it doesn't try to wow you with modern flair or cutting-edge culinary experiments, that's exactly the point. Black Angus knows its identity: old school, dependable, and proudly unfussy. Sure, some locations feel a bit dated, and it's not exactly Instagram bait. But for those seeking a straightforward, satisfying steak night, Black Angus still earns its stripes, proving that sometimes classic doesn't need fixing. Number 5. Morton's a Steakhouse. Morton's a Steakhouse is where you go when you're not just hungry, you're celebrating. With its dim lighting, crisp white tablecloths, and tuxedoed servers, Morton's delivers a fine dining experience that oozes sophistication. It's a place built for business deals, anniversaries, and once-a-year splurges. The filet mignon is buttery soft. The porterhouse is perfectly aged, and the lobster tail pairing elevates everything. Sides like creamy spinach and sizzling bacon-wrapped scallops round out a menu that doesn't aim to surprise. It aims to impress. But here's the catch. The price tag is steep, and not everyone leaves feeling it was justified. At $70 plus for a steak alone, expectations skyrocket, and if the kitchen or service stumbles, it's hard to overlook. There are complaints about inconsistencies between locations. Some Mortons deliver a flawless evening. Others feel like you're paying more for the brand than the beef. Still, for those who crave old-school elegance and don't mind footing the bill, Morton's remains a trusted go-to. It might not reinvent the steakhouse wheel, but it polishes it to a shine. And for some, that polish is worth every penny. Number 4. Smith & Wollensky. Smith & Wollensky is more than just a steakhouse. It's a dining institution. Founded in 1977 in New York City, it has built a devoted following for its unwavering commitment to USDA prime beef, expertly aged and flawlessly grilled. Walking into Smith & Wollensky feels like entering a temple dedicated to steak. With its dark interiors, white tablecloths, and ambience that strikes the perfect balance between elegant and welcoming. Their signature bone-in ribeye is legendary, delivering a perfect crust and juicy center every time. The extensive wine list complements the menu, offering carefully selected bottles to pair with each cut. Beyond steak, Smith & Wollensky also impresses with fresh seafood options and classic sides, such as creamed spinach and crispy Brussels sprouts, rounding out a meal that feels complete and luxurious. What sets Smith & Wollensky apart is its consistency and attention to detail. Unlike some chains that spread themselves thin, this restaurant focuses on doing a few things exceptionally well. Though it carries a hefty price tag, regulars swear it's worth every penny for an experience that feels both indulgent and reliably top-notch. Smith & Wollensky has earned its cult classic status by delivering on the steakhouse promise, with a level of quality and service few can match. Number 3. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is synonymous with steakhouse luxury. Famous for its signature method of serving steaks sizzling on a 500-degree plate, the experience is as much about the theater as the taste. That first dramatic sizzle signals something special, a perfectly cooked piece of USDA prime beef bathed in melted butter, locking in flavor and juiciness. The menu caters to classic steak lovers, with prime cuts like the bone-in ribeye and filet mignon that consistently receive praise for their tenderness and rich flavor. The sides, including creamy mashed potatoes and decadent creamed spinach, complement the star of the show without overshadowing it. Ruth's Chris also offers elegant starters like crab cakes and seafood, making a well-rounded dining destination. However, with upscale comes expectations and prices to match. While many diners leave enchanted, occasional inconsistencies in cooking or service pop up, especially in busy locations. For the price, perfection is demanded every time, and a single slip can sting. Still, when Ruth's Chris hits the mark, it delivers an unforgettable steak experience that feels indulgent, refined, and downright delicious, a sizzling jewel in the crown of American steakhouses. Number 2, Peter Luger Steakhouse. Peter Luger Steakhouse isn't just a restaurant. It's a New York institution. Since 1887, this Brooklyn staple has been serving some of the most celebrated steaks in America, attracting locals and tourists alike with its no-frills, old-school charm. The atmosphere is unapologetically straightforward. Think wooden tables, minimal decor, and a cash-only policy that somehow adds to its legendary status. At the heart of Peter Luger's fame is their dry-aged porterhouse, a massive cut with an intense, beefy flavor that's been perfected over decades. Their aging process, typically 28 days or more, deepens the meat's taste and tenderness, creating a steak experience that's both rustic and sublime. The accompanying sides, like their creamed spinach and German fried potatoes, have cult followings of their own, but the legend isn't flawless. Some diners mention long waits, brisk service, and uneven cooking during busy nights. It's a place that demands patience and a love for tradition over modern polish. The high prices also mean expectations are sky high. Still, despite these quirks, Peter Luger remained a shrine for steak lovers. When everything comes together, the perfectly aged meat, the atmosphere, the history, it delivers a classic, memorable steakhouse experience that justifies its near-mythical reputation. Number 1, the Capital Grille. The Capital Grille stands tall as the undisputed champion of American steakhouses, perfectly balancing luxury, consistency, and an inviting atmosphere. With nearly 75 locations across the country, it has mastered the art of delivering a flawless fine dining experience every time. From the moment you step inside, the rich wood paneling, elegant lighting, and attentive service signal that this is a special place. Their menu showcases only the finest USDA prime beef, expertly aged and prepared to perfection. Signature dishes like the peony rub bone-in ribeye and New York strip, crusted with gorgonzola cheese, demonstrate the kitchen skill at elevating classic cuts into true culinary masterpieces. Beyond steak, the seafood offerings and decadent sides maintain the same high standard. What truly sets the Capital Grille apart is its remarkable consistency. Reviewers across cities praise the impeccable cooking, polished service, and atmosphere that feels both exclusive and welcoming. Unlike many competitors, the quality doesn't dip with location, making a reliable go-to for celebrations or business dinners. While prices are steep, diners say you get what you pay for an elite steakhouse experience that lives up to its reputation time and again. The Capital Grille is a perfect balance of refinement and dependability, earning its rightful crown. So there you have it. 13 steakhouse chains, rank from forgettable to phenomenal. Some are rowdy, some are classy, some are probably better left in your memory. But when it comes to chasing that perfect steak, the hunt is half the fun. Which ones did we get right? And which ones did we absolutely butcher? Drop your steakhouse hot takes in the comments. Smash that like button if you're hungry now. And don't forget to subscribe for more delicious deep dives. Until next time, stay hungry.